Well, here we are. Welcome, welcome, Courtney Epps. This is Gina Ritchie here at Meetings with Masters, and we have one of the most inspiring women that I've ever met, Courtney Epps. Thank you for joining me here today. I appreciate you. Glad
Oh,
you're here.
I appreciate you for having me on, and it's so amazing to spend some more time with you today.
Yeah, thank you. Well, when I first met you in person, it was so wonderful. We had such a great connection a few weeks ago back in LBI at the Unblinded Mastery Immersion, which was phenomenal. And I got to know you a little bit and to hear all about who you are and what you do in the world. But I'm excited that you're going to share it here on my platform and talk a little bit about you, how you came to where you are now, about your business outside the box
Yes.
outside the box business solutions. I want to make sure I say that right. But so, Courtney, you have overcome a lot in your life. And, I know that when someone is as inspiring as you are, has been through a lot and is thriving and super successful as you are, the world needs to hear about it. So they do. So that your story can be the inspiration for someone else to step into their greatness as you have.
Yes.
So I'm truly honored that you're here and you do so much for humanity. So Courtney, please tell us a little bit about you and like who you are, like who you are in the world.
So, obviously, my name's Courtney Epps. I'm from a small town in South Carolina called Aner, and it's about 600 people. And I grew up, on a 100-acre farm with my family until I was 32 and moved here to Greenville, South Carolina. I actually live in Greer, which is a smaller town right outside of Greenville, with my husband and 5 of our 6 kids. And so our kids are 18, 17, 16, 15, 13, and 7. So it's kind of crazy. And we homeschool all of them. And I have a full service accounting firm here in Greer, and we have 25 employees. And we work with clients all over the country. So what I really do well to kind of explain to people who I am, I'm a motivational tax strategist. So I don't think there's anybody like that. I think that I've created that concept, but I love sharing, things that have happened to me in the past, because I've obviously overcome a lot, and it doesn't affect me anymore to share it, which means that I've gotten through them, and now I can use those things and I can help other people. But along the way, I help people take the road less stupid, right? So as a tax strategist, my goal in life is to free up money for people. So I need to teach more people how to free up more money so that they can have more, they can live more. And then in turn, the true meaning of everything we do, I think, on a daily basis should be to give back. And then I can in turn nourish more children by feeding them and providing more safe drinking water, and free more children, because everything we do, literally, we give 16% of every dollar we make off the top to go to 3 different nonprofits to feed more children, provide more safe drinking water, and to free children from sex trafficking. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Wow. Well, that is the super short version, because there's so much more and there's so much behind all of that. And
Yes.
and like, for all that you give in the world, it's truly amazing. And I hear you when you say that, honestly, you help people free up money they don't even know they have.
Yes.
And I'm super excited to get working with you on that, and because I know then I can give more. Like we all have that opportunity to get out of our own financial blockages and make more money and have more success. We can certainly give more. That is I would hope that that's a big goal for most people in the world. Is certainly for me, and that you're able to put all that into place and make that impact by feeding more children, feeding more people, helping with charity water, making an impact with charity water, which helps people receive water that are not getting it in third world countries, and also helping to eliminate the sex trafficking, the horrors that are happening in the world, and free children from it. So thank you, like, for all that you do. And I'll feel in my soul how much that all means to you.
Yes.
And I want to ask you, why does that mean so much to you?
One of the biggest things is that I had a lot of health problems. I would say I was screwed over by the healthcare system. And from the time I was 13 years old, I've had IBS, and I got diagnosed with having fibromyalgia, and then I've had mono twice. I've had mold poisoning, mercury poisoning. I've had 5 miscarriages. I mean, like, the list goes on the things like the doctors were supposed to do. I had massive migraines. I was supposed to have brain surgery 13 years ago, and my cousin was actually murdered the day that I was supposed to go into surgery. They were going to put a stent in my brain to bypass the nerve in my brain that caused migraines. And I don't have migraines today. I don't have fibromyalgia. I don't have IBS. I don't have any of those things. And so I fell in love with the products that I was taking. And that company is a for-profit company, and it's connected to a nonprofit. And that nonprofit is called Manna Relief. And Manna Relief provides the same products to malnourished and medically fragile children all over the world in 90 different countries, and has for the last 20 years. And it's the only nonprofit that provides whole food, plant-based nutrition that does not provide any synthetics. So like UNICEF, every other nonprofit provides synthetic products to children, which over time, it doesn't kill them immediately, right? But it does kill them over time, especially when you're dealing with malnourished children. So I fell in love with the aspect of what's called a buy one, give one model. And it's literally creating what's called a social business. And social business is when a entrepreneur takes on massive change in the world, and they combine their passion and their profits together, kind of like Tom Shoes and Warby Parker. And so I'd been in this nutrition company 3 years ago. I actually decided I got sick again, and I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't realize I was living in mold. I shut down completely. Like, I literally stopped, and I thought the product stopped working. So I stopped and did nothing. Like, there was something going on personally with one of my children, and that really got me. And for the next 6 weeks, I did nothing. Like, I didn't do accounting. I didn't do nutrition. And so when I fast forward, I went through, I lost my memory for 6.5 months due to the mold, and we lost everything we owned. 3 years ago, in 4 days, 3 years ago, we moved out of the house that we were living in. That house was condemned that we were renting. The landlord refused to let us know that there was mold in the house. And there had been mold in the house for at least 5 years prior, and he hid that. And I started having massive medical issues. And so we ended up moving out of the house. We lived in a hotel for 45 days in 2-bedroom hotels, and $300 a day, which was absurd. And we lost everything. So we had to start all over. And so when I finally started getting better, I wanted to go back to this nutrition company, but I couldn't. I didn't have I was dealing with a massive lawsuit because he sued me. As soon as I told him as soon as I told him all of the medical issues that I had, I sent him an email. Can you please remediate the house? Like, I think that there's mold in it. He actually sued us and tried to evict us from a condemned house. So we're still dealing with that. It's been 3 years now, still dealing with that. It's cost us about $400,000 so far to buy everything we owned back and start all over. But when I started getting to feeling better, and long story short, literally there was a hole in my jawbone called a cavitation that was storing a fungal infection, and they'd cut out half my jaw and both my molars and take out all the mercury out of my mouth. And then I went through this massive detox for about 6 days, and I've been great ever since then. But crazy stuff. Anyway, so when I got better, I just wanted to go back and share that nutrition company, because 1, it's what helped me get better. But 2, it was also, I love the buy one, give one model. And so I remember April 2018, I was sitting at my desk preparing tax returns. And granted, it's amazing to free up money for people. Like it really is. It really is amazing to be able to help people, provide them hope, because it starts there. Like you have to be able to free up money financially for people, for them to be able to heal their bodies, for them to be able to heal physically, mentally, and spiritually, I believe, because so many people are lost right now because they can't even see, they can't get a head up, like they can't, they're going underwater. And so when I was sitting and doing tax returns, it just hit me like a child just died. And so I was sitting there doing my tax returns and I'm like, another child just died. So it had been ingrained in me that every 6 seconds a child dies of malnutrition. And so at that point, I hit a crossroads that what was providing me massive purpose was to feed children, and what I needed to do to make money was to do taxes. And I had a really hard time with it because I couldn't go back to that company. I did not have the time to build up a company to a point that I could make sure that I was paying all of my bills. And so what I ended up doing is I went to an event that they had, and there was a travel agency there, and that they said, if you spend $100 with us, for every $100, we're going to provide nourishment for a child for 28 days. And so that just led me to question. I reached out to the nonprofit and said, hey, how much does it cost to provide nourishment for a child for 28 days? And they said $2. And I'm like, $2 a day? Like, no, it's $2 a month. And so I went back and crunched some numbers. I'm like, oh my God, that's nothing. That is 7 cents on every dollar. So what we did, in order to combine my passion and my profits, I started, for every dollar that we brought in, we started providing whole food plant-based nutrition, a serving of whole food plant-based nutrition, this nonprofit. And it's about 7% off the top. And I remember like the first month that we started giving, we gave 15,000 servings that month, April of 2018. And we didn't have the extra money to give. Like it was $700 or $800. And, I thought I'd made the wrong decision. Like, how could I have committed to doing this? And the next week we got a check in the mail from the IRS for $25,000 that we'd been waiting on for 3.5 years. And then the next month it was 22,000 servings. It was like $1,400. And we didn't have the extra money. Like we didn't have it. We were spending $5,000 a month on attorneys, and I was trying to grow a business, and but I gave it anyway. And I said, well, hopefully the check won't bounce. And the next week, my husband's grandma reached out to us and said she wanted to take everybody to dinner, and she gave us all a check for $5,000. And so that just has kept happening for the last 2 years. Fast forward to Tony Robbins' birthday, February 29th, I committed that we were going to provide Operation Underground Railroad, every child that's ever been freed from sex trafficking through them, that I would commit to providing all the nourishment for those children, because they're the most severely malnourished kids. And we gave 25 grand as well that night, which was, I think, the most I've ever given for anything. It's the most I've ever spent in a day is 25 grand. And I remember I was kind of scared. I didn't want to tell my husband. And so the next day I called him and I'm like, hey, I found another nonprofit we're going to give to. And he's like, nope, we're not. And I'm like, well, we already did. So he was not very happy because I didn't run it by him. And that's a lot of money, but I said, I know that that's what I was supposed to do. I know that's what God told me to do. And I'm supposed to connect Man of Relief with Operation Underground Railroad. And I came home on a Sunday, flew back home. And then Monday, and we gave 25 grand. Monday, at the end of the day, every day at 8 o'clock, I get an email from QuickBooks telling me how much money is going into my account the next day. And it was $28,300. And it was as if God was saying, like, Courtney, I'll give it all back to you plus interest if you just trust me. And from there on out, we worked with the Last Well, WELL. We connected with them in March, and because I fell in love with the fact that they're decreasing in the country of Liberia, which I'm going to actually meet the president of Liberia in the next 3 weeks and see the last well being put into the ground in that country. And so I'll get to witness history for 5.2 million people that did not have access to fresh water 11 and a half years ago. In a decade, they're able to end that and provide water. So we'll be able to see the last well going in. So, yeah.
Wow.
And so, but here's the great part, like connecting all three, the last well, Manna Relief, and Operation Underground Railroad, what happened is that by putting in fresh water, it decreased sex trafficking by 87% in that country. Because the little girls, one, had to walk 8 hours at least once a week to go get water, and it was dirty water. So they can't go to school. And then they're walking and getting picked up by traffickers. And so it's just like this amazing thing. Wow. Like we free up $250,000 a week minimum for people. Every day we provide safe drinking water for at least 53 people. We provide nutrition for 9,000 children a day, and we free a child from sex trafficking every 3 days. And my goal is to 10x that, because 6 million children die a year from malnutrition. There's currently 6 million children right now that are being trafficked every single day. And you've got, 50,000 people just in that one country that was dying every single year just due to waterborne disease. And do you know how much it costs to provide water for a person for a lifetime?
Tell me.
$4.58.
Wait, what? For a lifetime?
For a lifetime. Because it's a well. So every week we do at least a well a week, and to provide an entire village of about 500 people water. So, I mean, you are impacting an entire country, but then also you're impacting their children and their children and their children for a lifetime. So it's pretty amazing. I don't think there's any more fulfillment that you can have. I've created a life that I don't want any vacations from. I love helping people. And, I love spending time with my family. And don't get me wrong, I wish that we had more time to spend together. But I know right now I'm creating a legacy for them so that when they get to be moms and dads, that they don't have to spend 60 or 70 hours a week working, that we have built a legacy for them that they can spend 40 hours a week. They don't ever have to work for anybody. They can work for themselves. They can work in our business. And we're creating a business that they can do whatever they want. Like if they want to do marketing, if they want to do sales, if they want to, whatever, if they want to do accounting, then they can do that right here. So creating a family business that is just centered on giving back, and God will provide for us, and we'll have an abundant life because of that.
Yes. Wow. Courtney, I just, that is just, there's so much there that you are doing by virtue of, how this all comes together. It's really like the infinity loop, the full circle that you've been born to do, truly.
Yeah.
And, I know how much your family means to you in order to be able to leave that legacy. And are you willing to share why that's so important to you?
Yeah. I mean, so, a lot of people, I have a lot of crazy things that have happened in my lifetime. My first husband got drunk and beat me up in front of my kids when they were 3, 2, and 4 weeks old. And so I was a single mom at 22, which is crazy. And, along the way, I've had some major issues with my family. And honestly, it was more about communication than anything else. It was a relationship issue. Like I wanted to take my kids out of public school. I wanted to spend more time with them because I felt like we were always fighting over time. Like it was literally always a time issue. Like there's not enough time. And especially when you are a divorced mom and you have to give up every other weekend to your ex-husband, and you don't have that with your children, it makes it very, very hard. Like, yes, you may have them for 2 weeks, but you really only get to spend time with them every other weekend because that's your window, because it's always, there's so much to do, right? When you're taking care of small children. So me and my parents had what I would say, we never even had a falling out. We just never even had a conversation. And they made a decision that was not in the best interest of me and my family. And me and my family decided that we wanted to leave. And we lived on a family farm for obviously 32 years of my life. I lived on a family farm, and I felt like I did everything that my family always wanted me to do, but I wasn't doing what Courtney wanted to do. And I made a decision that I wanted to leave, and my parents were not happy about that. And it caused them to a point where they kind of shut down and stopped communicating and started dealing with my ex-husband. And what ended up happening from there is that they hired an attorney. And I don't think that they were purposely trying to destroy my family. I just think that they really just wanted me to stay and be there with them. And instead of communicating that, there was no communication, and it literally destroyed our entire relationship. Now, what I will tell you is that the rest of my family, my parents, we've worked it out. We're okay. It's definitely not the same. I love them. I understand exactly what they were doing and why they were doing it now, because I was involved. I was a platinum partner with Tony Robbins for an entire year. And I understand exactly. They were scared. They didn't want me to leave. They didn't want the change. And they thought they were doing what's in our best interest, was to get us to stay. And if my dad would have ever just said, Courtney, I don't want you to leave, like, things would be totally different. And now I understand things were supposed to be that way, because God puts things in your path to happen at a certain time. And honestly, I wouldn't be where I'm at today had I stayed there, had I cut off all decision to move and create relationships with people outside my family, because you are truly the top 5 people you hang around with. And I love my family. Other than my parents, nobody speaks to me, but that's okay. We're not on the same wavelength anymore. And I think a lot of it is more along the lines of, they don't even know what to say, because there was just so much animosity and so much nonverbal communication that it just destroyed and cut it off. And, one of the things they talk about that's in the Bible, it says that your family is going to come together before the end times come. Parents and children will come back together. And I truly believe that. And I truly also believe, I had an issue with one of my daughters. She's 17 now. And I overreacted. I can tell you, I can say that now. I completely overreacted over some cell phone usage, and told her, you can't use your phone. You can't use social media. And you don't realize what that means to children nowadays. And as much as it probably shouldn't have happened, she got upset. I got upset, and she ended up deciding she didn't want to live with me anymore. And so that was probably, aside from my parents and what happened with that was the hardest thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. But I know that, again, everything happens for a reason. And it was either that she needed to go with her dad and be with him and get that support that she's wanted all her entire life, or it was that I needed to really focus on what I was put on this earth to do. And it almost, I see it now, Gina, it's like God was removing all the distractions so that I could focus on creating massive change. And one of the things that I do know is that I was not put here on this earth for me. I was put here on this earth to change the world. And sometimes that's extremely overwhelming, but it is such an amazing feeling. And I have such a sense of certainty that all of the things that were broken will come back together. And, I'm in a place now in my life where I know that if something bad happens to me, it is not because God wanted to hurt me or punish me. It is because God has something better in store for me. And there's a major difference between those two things. So, if you have something going on in your life, I do want to share this. You've got to realize that there's a much bigger plan in store that you don't necessarily see. Like losing everything I owned with mold, that was crazy. Losing my memory for 6.5 months, that was nuts. And I was so scared. I thought I had a brain tumor. That's what the doctors thought I had. And luckily I found an environmental doctor, but I can see it clearly. Like I can look back and say, God, I moved from Aner to Greenville so I could grow my business massively. I'd get the right people in my life as far as clients, because the clients that I had in Horry County, where I'm from, they were not willing to pay the amount of money that I was getting here. And so I got a new level of clients. I started valuing myself more. I stopped having massive limiting beliefs, and I learned that stuff through Tony. I stopped self-sabotaging myself. And I realized that I could choose to be happy no matter what the situation is. And for those of you listening, because I know this is on my personal page, I know without a shadow of a doubt that my family just didn't understand. And so I'm not in any way knocking, and I'm so grateful that it happened. Like it's crazy because it was such a hard time in my life. And don't get me wrong, it's hard to be ostracized by your family, especially when they didn't understand what was really going on and not allow me to speak or share my truth. But always, everything, in life works in exactly when it's supposed to in God's timing. And, I'm grateful. I mean, like, I'm really grateful that it's happened. I would not have ever met you, and God is now giving me all of these, I would say, these relationships and these things that have happened to me in life that I can relate to almost every single person on the planet. And I think a lot of that is why those things happen, like why God gives them to me. I'm willing to speak about them. I'm not scared to step up and share what has happened to me in the past. And I'm willing to take full responsibility for my part on it. And then 2, I'm willing to help share that with people and help them get through things that they feel like is impossible at this point.
Yeah. Wow. Courtney, powerful, so powerful. I mean, when I hear you talk about that disconnect with your family, that the communication breakdown, which literally everyone watching is the root of like so many of our problems in the world. Communication, breakdown, inability to communicate with heart, right? Heart and depth, and connect with each other at the heart level. And I'm so grateful. Thank you for sharing all this with me, because it really is impactful. It matters, and what you're doing is making a huge impact, and just really owning 100% responsibility, which I know you are, and I understand well. I am on the same path. I know every single thing that happens to us in our life, every single thing, is for some reason, good, bad, the ugly. And like what, you now know what true grace feels like.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
When we like,
go ahead. No, you're good. I was just saying, I mean, it is, I think when I first started down this path, I just needed to find something that would bring me happiness. And a lot of people tend to try to fix every problem in the world for everyone else because they can't fix their problems. And what that did for me is that allowed me to stay distracted until the problems work themselves out. And so, there is nothing better that you can do in your life than to help other people until you stop focusing on the drama, you stop focusing on the issues, and you start focusing on how you can help other people. And then what happens is there's this level of gratitude and this grace. Exactly. And somehow just the stuff just goes away. And you realize it's a lot of it's irrelevant. And you forgive people that, and I'm not necessarily saying everybody that you deal with deserves to be forgiven, but you need to forgive them for you. Yeah. Because if you don't forgive them, it will destroy you. And so while you're dealing with it, you just find somebody to help or something to do to help others. And then all of the issues just kind of work their way out, and it becomes amazing. And then you wake up one day and you're like, oh, well, I've kind of, all my problems are fixed. And I think that's truly what we're supposed to do. Now, the fact that I can have this conversation with you without crying my eyeballs out says that I'm over it. Like, it's just, I've healed from it. And now we use it and we say, what we learn from history, right? What don't we do again? How do we have a relationship? And I just got to tell you this, Gina. This weekend, I'm going to see my daughter. She just agreed to see me this weekend. So I'm going, me and my daughter, Alexis and Adrian, and we're going to go spend some time together. And, I'm super grateful. It's like things work out. They work out. It doesn't happen on your time. It happens on God's time. And maybe you needed to grow a little bit more as a mom or as a friend or as a daughter, or, maybe the other person needed to grow more. So it doesn't happen when you want it. It happens when God knows that you're ready for it. So, I pray that that's going to work out. And if it doesn't, I'm going to keep trying and we're going to keep working towards it. And eventually one day we're going to be an amazing family again. That's what I pray for everyone. But it is just a communication. It's crazy. Like, why can't you just communicate with each other and work it out? And that's where I'm at now. So anyway, I'll shut up.
Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. And thanks for sharing that you're going to get to see her, because we had a really deep talk about this, and I'm just, I just want to hug you. So that's really wonderful, because you do the work, right? When you decide that you want solutions rather than problems, and you want to live in the solution and in the place of giving and gratitude and grace, all the other all the challenge and the pain and the darkness, it does go away. And you can fit, and then the other things you want start to come into your life and manifest in your life, just like you did, like for you, even just the giving, what you felt scared to death to give, but you gave, and then the next, and boom, not only did it come back, it came back tenfold, right? So and now your daughter, and so these are little things, whoever's watching, to please pay attention to, because it does matter. I am also a product of the same, watching things. As soon as I start to take ownership that things happen for us, and take ownership of my own behavioral, communication breakdown, because that's what it was for me. And looking at what we do now, Courtney and I met in the space of Unblinded, which is, so this gives us a good segue into why role playing, communication building practices matters so much. And so whoever's still watching, I've recently, fortunately, been given I call it a gift, and it's also a new role in the Unblinded movement and within the Sean Callaghan's company, Unblinded, to be the Real Raw role play coordinator for the Opens. And I'm really excited about it and what he's doing for the world, and why I'm glad that, if it's okay, we segue into that. You are the first person who did the Real Raw role play with Sean. What the formula that Sean created over his life is literally about that. It's about communicating from the heart, right? What would you say Unblinded is? What would you say it's done for you? And what would you say the Real Raw role play and the Role Play Opens are doing, not just for you, but for others out there in the world, and what they can do and be? Would you be willing to talk about that a little bit? And then
Yeah. So Unblinded is I would say a force for good. right? And it's a group of people who have decided, and business owners especially, who have decided that it's better to work together and help each other grow companies, grow their own companies, as opposed to working separately. Because the thing is that you have skills I don't have. I have skills you don't have. And then you know people I don't know, and I know people you don't know. Well, why in the world don't we condense time, connect together, and combine our efforts? So it's not about like, I'm making money off of you, you're making money off of me. That's not how it works. Like, we make nothing off of each other, but it's so much easier and so much more fun if we work together as a team and help each other. Because, you know, I could use the stories that I have, you know, has happened in me. I lost a business 10 years ago. Guy sold it to, stopped paying me after, 4 months. I didn't hire an attorney. That was stupid. If I would have had business owners to reach out to and say, hey, what do you think about this? They would have said, that's stupid. Don't do that. So you need to hire an attorney. I would have hired an attorney. The attorney would have said, you know what? You don't need to make this deal, or you need to make this deal with this contract. Completely different. My life would have shifted. Again, I know that things happen for a reason, but I could have saved so much money, time, and effort had I had people in my world that could help me. And I think one of the problems with business owners today, and it's not just business owners, is that no one feels comfortable having conversations with each other about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And
again,
the reason
communication breakdown again, right? Same.
Yes.
Go on. Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is like us as business owners. Well, one, we can't talk to our employees because they'll be scared, right? And one, they don't really understand what's going on in our life because they're working on their family. We're providing for all of our employees and their family and our family and our clients and all the, you can't talk to your clients because, obviously you'll scare them to death. You don't want your clients to know anything bad about you, right? And then the next thing, you can't go talk to your family because they don't typically understand. So business owners are typically stuck. And one of the things that we do every day, my staff has told me 3 times a day, did you know we're counselors? And I'm like, yeah, we are. Like, we're whatever clients need us to be, because a lot of what they do is just calling us and having a conversation with us and telling us about their breakdowns, right? And we're helping them through it. And things are crazy right now. So it's a way for us to all come together, create amazing relationships. And it just has a simple platform, because I was doing the things that Unblinded is doing and has been doing for over the last year. I've been doing that. I just didn't know that was what it was called. And it's something called ecosystem mergers. And what an ecosystem merger is just where Gina knows people, I know people, we connect each other to people that the other one would never meet. And those people are great people to help her grow her business, to help her in her personal life. Same thing with me. She connects me to people, and we do it on a platform that is also an education platform all at the same time. So meaning that what we do is we all get together and we have this Zoom, and there's 10 or 12 of us. And then Sean, who's blind, and he's an attorney, which is crazy. Like, I thought at the beginning, I'm like, and he surfs. Like, let's just throw that out there. Yeah. The man surfs. I think
alone,
he does.
Alone, blind. He surfs alone. It's not like he has a guide. Yeah.
Alone, blind, has no clue where the shore is. I guess he just follows the wave, which is absurd. And so it's scary to surf. I did that a month ago. Yeah. But so what happens is Sean has an ability, because he is blind, because he has to listen to everything that is around him. And he has this ability to listen to people and to help them tell their story better than they tell their story, and to help them sell in a way that is not a sale. It's not a transaction. It's a way for people to have a mutually beneficial relationship with each other. Because when I say that I sell something, like, I'm not selling you on anything other than paying less in taxes and paying me a little bit of money. I mean, at the end of the day, That's all I do. And then while you're doing that, you're going to feed kids, free kids, and provide safe drinking water.
And by the way, I think just by virtue of the conversation you and I are having today, you probably influenced everyone, hopefully everyone listening, to give more, knowing that more will come back, to take ownership of their communication style, to take, so it's literally, it's how we convey things.
Yes. Yes.
Go on.
This is considered to be a stage and a microphone. So that's what we call it, is that we have the ability to allow people to understand us, to understand what we're all about, to understand more about who we are as an individual, and help us all grow together faster. Like with what I guess is more time and less more time, more magic, and
more money and less time with more magic.
More money, more magic, and less time. So that's not my motto, but that is Unblinded motto. But that's all what we're focused on. Is like everybody wants to make more money, but there's different reasons why we want to make money. Money has nothing to do with happiness per se. It buys you the things that make you happy, whether it's time, whether it's the ability to go on vacation with your family, whether it's to buy the gifts that you want, whether it's to be secure and be able to retire. I mean, so money does a lot of things for people. So, you can tell me all day long that you don't need more money. That's not true, right? That's just not true. It's just, what do you want? What's the underlying thing that money can provide for you? For me, it's not about making more money every day anymore. It's about, that's not the first and foremost. It's, I need to make more money so that I can feed and free and provide more water, period. Right? And I want a legacy for my family. So what do you want more money to do? And then the next step, right? We want to do it in less time, because we all have 168 hours in a week. We want to be able to provide in less time, be able to make more money in less time. And for me, it's not even necessarily that I need more time on my hands, because I love what I do every day. I want to do it faster, because for me, I have to open my mouth up and I have to share every single day what I'm doing, because 8,640 children died yesterday, and 8,640 children are going to die today, minimum. And so I have a reason to do it faster. And my goal is, in 10 years, is to be a $2 billion company, and I can indirectly eradicate childhood malnutrition by myself if I want to. But here's the thing. We have the ability to work together and condense time, and I can influence other business owners to say, hey, how about you feed children with me? How about you free children with me? And then things start changing, and we create this massive movement. And that's exactly what I see Unblinded is a movement where like-minded individuals are coming together to not only help people heal financially, help people heal physically, mentally, and spiritually at the end of the day. And we're doing it with making more money and less time with more magic. And we're having a lot of fun doing it. So that's what I see Unblinded is.
That is phenomenal. That is a beautiful, beautiful testimony to what it is truly. And when I was what I was feeling as you're talking too is like just a piece of magic, right? I just want people to hear this. The magic came for instance, in Courtney's life, when she gave that $25,000, and then what happened? Magic came. That money came right back to her plus more. That's magic, right? That is in my hallucination. That's part of the magic. There's a lot of magic once we start to own own our behaviors, change our behavior, recondition, reframe ourselves to be more in the mindset of giving more, hearing, listening better, having better communication, connecting more deeply on a heart-to-heart level with people, building greater businesses that will give people more money in less time with more magic, and allow that to be the ripple effect that is for the greater good of humanity. And so you articulated it beautifully. I get lost in my words because I'm just like, I feel it in my soul, and I'm like, it's like, yes, why is not everyone doing this? So the real raw role play which you were the first person on it with Sean back in April, has been like this boom that allows people to share who they are and what they do in the world with like up to 15 people at one time. Instead of having to talk to one person at a time, or the two people that are sitting next to you at a dinner table, or the networking event where you have to share it like with one person here and one person there and one person here. No, you have an opportunity to share it all at once for all of you to potentially collaborate to make an impact, because the guy that's listening to you might say, oh my gosh, I have to introduce her to my friend Joe, who, you know, totally needs what she has, or vice versa. That's what or that person, those connect and make some big changes in the world. So thank you. That's Courtney. It really is magic. And I want everyone out there to hear that, because if you want to be a part of that magic and be on the role plays, please let me know. This is a free platform in allowing people to make a bigger impact. And Courtney makes a huge impact in the world and what she's doing. So, and if you guys want to have somebody help you find more money in your life, literally, Courtney Epps and her company, Out of the Box Business, is making that happen for so many people around the world. And when she told me the amount of money she was helping people find, I was like, holy moly. So it really matters. I've got her book. I'm in our friend Joe Hagan's office right now. This is one of Courtney's books. She talks about more relaxing, less taxing. I mean, why would you be brain dead not to own your own business? That's, you know, one of her books and one of the things that she talks about and teaches. So Courtney, let's just end this with what, because I bet we can talk for even longer, but I know we're almost at 6 and you have to go. So any last words you want to say? I'm going to invite Joe in real quick to say hi to everybody here. And any last words you want to say, Courtney? Feel free.
Yeah.
We've got Joe Hagan here.
What's up, Joe? Just saw you this morning.
This is like deja vu.
I know. You know, the last thing I just want to share with everyone is, and you may want to, like, I can hear some backup noise, or you may want to mute Gina. The last thing I just want to share with everyone is that find your purpose. Can you hear me? It's super weird.
And off it and you. Right. Okay. I can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can. So hopefully, are we good?
Yeah, we're good. I can. Last for us, it's like I'm not sure what's happening. I think say goodbye to Joe to Court for
Just
okay. For now, she's.
This is crazy. I sound like I'm in a tunnel, but okay, I feel better now. This is awesome. Okay, much better. All right, so
Phone's back in.
I was all up in my picture when I did that.
Thank you, Joe. Sorry, Courtney, here. Apologies for that.
So for me, I just want to share, you know, follow your dream. I understand sometimes that you're in a place, and especially right now with COVID and, you know, the world being shut down, which is super crazy, but we're not even going into that today. But I just want to let people know that you can overcome anything that you believe you can overcome. And, you know, you were put on this earth for a reason. And I want you to focus and find that reason, like that purpose, that true purpose in life can really change and impact everything in your life. And, you know, it may just be like giving $10, like giving an extra $10 when you tip someone. It may be finding a charity that you love what they're doing and you want to be a part of that and start giving, because I will tell you one thing, for me, money did not provide me happiness at all, because I spent so much of my life just buying back everything I lost and buying back my health, right? Because I'd worked so hard and then I had all these health issues with the mold. And so I just spent a lot of money on attorneys. And so money did not provide me happiness. It didn't provide me time. I was just spending money and bills. And when I started focusing on giving, that just truly changed everything for me. And as business owners, we need to come together and we need to help each other grow. One, so that we have friends and we have people that we can hang around with, and we have like-minded individuals that'll help us get to the next level. Because if you constantly hang around with the same people, you'll never grow. And that, you know, that is truly impactful. You've got to get around people that make you feel uncomfortable. And then you will start growing to be a better version of yourself. And then when you feel comfortable with them, go hang out with some more people. I'm not saying give up on those people, but you've got to keep growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's exactly where I stand. But unblinded, the real raw, because most people don't even understand what that is. It's just a Zoom where we come together, we tell each other what we're doing, we get some sales training along the way from a blind attorney who can actually tell our story better and see things that we can't see and say things in a way that we would never be able to say them because we're on the inside. We're just constantly, we're over here running our business, and somebody on the outside can see things that you can't see. So I just want to share that. You know, I love you guys. I hope this has been helpful. And if I can help in any way, just let me know.
Courtney, thank you. It's all about influencing, connecting, not only and enemy-based sales. So that I met you free. I invite and to reach out because it's really to get to meet people like-minded. So thanks for your giving. Invite you to Courtney's links, the connect. The best way people, and I'll in blah blah blah. So your website, perfect. I will thank you, Courtney, with me for sharing in massive impact are making magic. To thank you guys all, whoever's still watching. I'm just a platform to elevate and sell June in the world. So you girl.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, have an amazing day.